All right, and welcome to episode number 2. I can't believe they still let us talk on this, right? Number 2. People actually let people actually watch this, and we're coming back
People
for
actually listened.
right number 2. All right. So tonight we got a special guest. He's up in our top left, but we will introduce him later. For right now, we're going to hit you with our quote of the day. Champions. A champion is someone who does not, who gets up when he cannot. That is Jack Dempsey. So today we're going to talk about toxicity in the ESDL. Now, we normally do our around the ESDL, but we're going to save that for this week. We're going to save that for this week because we got a special guest that we got a lot of questions for. So, before we introduce him, let me give you a little background on this man. This man created the league you play in. He is a self-made man. Everything that he has, he's poured his life, his money, and his hopes and dreams into this league. And he is everything. He has to do with everything here. He still participates in it, not as a player, but as a administrator of sorts. He's still watching. And this man has given everything up to us. So, without further ado, the president of the ESDL, Mr. Brett McDonald, top left.
That was like a WWE intro. I feel like I should just start off and jump off some sort of
It's like shotgun a beer.
yeah.
The shotgun up there.
One of my poor children, just to show what parenting is, good parenting is like.
All right,
Definitely what we need right there.
Right. So first and foremost, welcome to the podcast, and secondly, thank you for creating us and not shutting us down at week number 1.
No, I love it. The focus of the league should be the players. So whether it was, hearing about a bug report that we needed to get fixed, what we need to do to add more value, we have to be, so we teach in our mental training course to be open to criticism. As soon as you open yourself to criticism, you allow yourself to improve. And so we certainly are trying to be that as an organization, from top to bottom, from engineering staff to our support staff. We're open to criticism. We seek it to a certain extent so that we can improve the value for our members. So free reign, it was great. We want to continue it. We like like I said, the raw value of it. We want it to be entertaining, insightful, all that. So anyway, fantastic and happy to be on.
All right. Awesome. We're going to launch right into questions because we push everything aside.
Us.
Like they already know us. They don't want to talk to us. But we've
And I don't think we have enough time to go over everything that we'd love to go over anyway. So the more, the better.
So let's get started. The first question and the number one question from everybody, from a caster standpoint and from player standpoint, because they're confused about this as well. Why change from Twitch to Mixer?
Two principal reasons. So we're developing our value proposition to our members, and the first two are we want to provide stable teams. So we can go over that. We went over that last time. We need reporting. We do need some help from our members to provide you with a stable team, because once you check in after that 48 hours that you're just checking into your team channel, we lose visibility on whether you're being responsive or toxic. So the stable team part, we require some interaction. The structure part we'll go over. We've got an announcement. We want a competitive structure that is as LCS-like as possible. We're making some changes there. And then the third part that we want as our value proposition is promotion of our members and our teams. So we've done the deal with LOLscout.com. We're changing the previews almost daily to make them more useful, make them more entertaining. I know they've got reviews coming out, and then we want to stream every single game. So from a technical standpoint, and we're also lowering we lowered membership fees. We found a sponsor that helped offsetting some costs. So we're trying to do this. We've rented a bunch of cloud servers to stream every game in high definition. We're testing again with tonight's games. From a technical standpoint, Twitch is very, very difficult to work with for our technology team, basically because of the 2auth requirement. So if you've seen text going back and forth, hey, I need a 2auth, an Authy code, it's an enormous task to automate any of that, right? And so as we grow, we already have, 100 plus teams to reliably stream every match, every game. It needs to be somewhat automated, and that was posing a real problem. Mixer, on the other hand, is much more friendly for our tech team. So our tests that we're running now on Mixer are working and doing well. The second thing is we've been reached out to by some representatives of Microsoft who owns Mixer. They're an up-and-coming platform. We actually think it's a better platform for our members and our teams to get more visibility and more promotion, which is, I think, what we all want. So both from a technical perspective and I think from a future perspective, how do we, again, help our members get more visibility? We think Mixer is the best way to go.
Okay.
Okay.
I can vouch for that. As a person who's cast a lot, I run into the issue where, hey, what's the two-factor authentication code? They are already giving it out to somebody else. They miss me, and now I got to do it again, and it's a pain.
We lost control of like 4 ESDL Twitch channels. Like we don't have staff can't log into them because a streamer did, and so like I think it's ESDL 9, 10, and 12. Like anyway, we're like losing control of our property. So
Gotcha.
and Mixer, actually, we just run it. We can test it soon. But for casters, also, we think it should be very, very simple and lower the barrier to entry for casting. So we think the process will be: we will give you a login for the particular channel that you'll be casting on. You will log into that, and then you will invite your own Mixer account from the ESDL account. And it's called co-streaming. It's very simple. So all you have to do is you log in. So we'll still be streaming. You actually don't have to stream anything. You don't have to set up OBS. You don't have to do any of that as a caster. We don't think moving forward. The stream will come from our official cloud servers. You'll set up essentially a co-stream with yourself. So you'll just invite yourself, and that's it. You'll log out of leave the ESDL Mixer account and go to yours, accept that co-stream, and then you're going. All you have to do is commentate over the top of the game. So we think it'll actually lower the barrier of entry. We think there's more people that would cast, but there's some technical barriers. There's getting it all set up. So we think Mixer will actually make it, really plug and play. You just log in, invite yourself, set up the co-stream, and then start the cast. So we're pleased with it thus far, and we think it's a way for us to expand in the future.
That last thing you just said about getting more people in because you think it'll be easier, that was actually the first thought I thought of as well, because I feel like when some people think when they need to cast, they feel like they need to have all this crazy equipment. In reality, it's, as of right now, it's just simply OBS and a working microphone, and you don't need anything fancy. Like this to me is fancy. This cost me $65. That's not fancy to me.
Yeah,
bucks.
Fancy.
But I mean, I think by being able to do that and still having the game streamed without you having that, it's going to probably intrigue a lot more people to want to cast. And I think that's definitely going to help a tremendous amount.
Yep.
Yeah, along with Howling's caster training program that they put out.
Right.
Make it a lot easier for people to just kind of go through that course, be like, okay, so this is kind of what I need to look at. And if I can find a caster that's the opposite.
You see a lot of people that say, I'm interested, and then do they take the next step? So how do we get them to do that? Okay, take the Howling course, and then just log in and try one, right? Try talking and
keep it simplified.
See if you enjoy it.
So far, we've had a lot of success. We've had 2 new casters after sign on and like, oh, I like it after that. So that's fun. We're gonna move on to the next question because we can talk about that all day. All right.
Yeah.
So in your mind, Brett, what can players do to help lower the toxicity in the ESDL from your perspective?
We started looking at this again years ago. If you know our story, my prior company was called Vantage Sports, and we started out by selling analytics to professional NBA players and teams. We had about half the NBA on board, including superstars like Carmelo Anthony and Steph Curry. and so I've been around top athletes in different cultures, and the thing that is paramount with all of them is their mind, is their mental game, is so much different than somebody that might have the same quote unquote God-given ability, but it's just a different level. And all of those guys work with mental coaches. We started then selling analytics to professional League of Legends teams. Liquid was our first team, and then Echo before they were, booted and all that good stuff. But
that story.
And those teams are starting to hire mental training coaches as well. When you get into the science of this, you realize that gamers don't understand the stress that we're putting on our bodies. We do not understand the amount of cortisol that is produced during playing a League of Legends game. And so we're not prepared for it. I truly believe that toxicity doesn't come from bad people. It comes from people that are putting their bodies under chronic stress, and they're not able to deal with that. I think these people, the vast, vast majority of them, are very nice people outside of the game, but during that chronic stress, it has all of these negative outcomes from irritability and depression and all of this stuff. I think it all leads there. So that leads us to, a year ago when we started saying, what can we do for our members? And that's where we started working on the mental training program and talking with doctors and psychologists and mental skills coaches and figuring out a format that works, 5-minute daily workouts for your mind. I think we only have about 11 up, but we've got probably 50 planned. We want this to be a thing that you can literally go to every day. We do it. I do it. I have my kids mental train. I mean, it's got to be fundamental. So I think the first thing is to work on yourself, right? And get yourself in the right state of mind, understanding how to strengthen your mind all the time. So I think that's the long-term goal of the ESDL. In the short term, we don't want our members to have to deal with it. So we will vigorously enforce our policy against toxicity. Everyone understands the expectation when signing up. It's a paid community for that specific that's a specific reason, right?
Right.
We will suspend and kick you out. And I always say ESDL is it's not for everyone. If you can't show up, if you can't be nice, it's just not your community, and that's fine. Play solo queue and rage and do what you need to do.
Right. Get it out.
So we're an exclusive community, and whether that ends up appealing to tens of thousands or 20, I actually don't care, because we're not going to appeal to everyone. We're not going to allow that. So the second thing is to vigorously report. And as you know, we have a 3-step process. We'll remind you, we'll warn you, and then we'll suspend you. Now, we hope you can rehabilitate by taking the mental training course and just working on things. And we have compassion there. Like I said, we don't think you're a bad person, but ultimately we won't have it in the community. So first thing is to do that. Train yourself, tell others about it. And secondly is then just to report so that we can remove bad actors.
Yeah, you got more compassion than I do. Be gone.
Something that I wanted to say about that is at that first warning, do you think they should be, kind of eased further into doing that mental training course before, getting back to the team, or?
Yeah. So the first thing we're doing based on, we've been thinking about it for a while, and then this is why it's so good. Your last podcast cemented it for, I think, us internally. We always go back and forth how high to make the barrier of entry to our league. We are going to require an onboarding course, just intro to competitive. So we're having one of our coaches do a couple of strategy videos, just to get you understanding how different the team game is. We've got an onboarding video we're producing that just shows you how to report and tells you your basic responsibilities. Confirm that you're going to play in your game, check in 30 minutes prior. Like literally both of those actions take 30 seconds. It's not hard. And then we don't ping you with, people get annoyed maybe with our notifications. Just confirm and then check in, and you don't have to have any notifications, right? And
you can also mute the Discords.
I've never even seen a notification.
You can mute it if you want. We send the sub now ones they're grayed out, and so you can actually discount those in your mind if you don't want to see subs. And then if you do, you can click on it and you see the sub opportunity. So we're trying to do the balance, right? So we have the video there. We're going to have some strategy videos, and then we'll have a few sessions of the mental training, so that when you're coming in, at least you're aware of these different programs and what your responsibilities are, and then you're draft eligible. And then, yes, we're going to toy with, and a warning that you need to show consistent training, like in mental skills, to, well, I think we'll figure out what that looks like. But yeah, I think that's the way forward, because I honestly believe it can be fixed with people working on their mind.
Right. So
literally check-in takes 10 seconds. We do it during our practice games. We tab out, type a space, enter it, and it's done. Do it.
It's just not hard, And then
we send gifts, like
people don't do it, and then we auto sub them with 10 minutes to go, and then they show up, and then the sub's angry. I mean, it's like, we give you 3 hours. You have your phone. You have your Discord on your phone. You type, "Hi, I'm here." Like, it's just not hard. Anyway, again, we're trying to make the balance of.
He is trying not to go into the red.
We don't want it to be burdensome on folks, but we need to know that you're showing up. So we think it's a good balance right now. We'll keep obviously looking at things.
Perfect.
Okay, so something that I've seen that I wanted to ask you about. So the LOL Scout is giving a lot of information about the players on people's teams. I've also seen them using that information to be derogatory toward their teammates and other players. I want you to chime in on this in this regard, because I don't think that data is meant for that. But they're looking at the worthless deaths and blowing that out of proportion. Look how many worthless deaths you have.
Yeah.
Look how many worthless deaths you have. Oh, you suck. And I got told that last night, and then of course I corrected them, but I want it on the official record from you of what is that data meant for and how it's supposed to be used.
Well, I think it's obvious. It's obvious, right?
I know it's obvious.
You would think it is, but some people don't know.
Obvious.
That was literally my first answer last night.
That's a toxicity incident. I mean, at the base level, that's a toxicity incident. You just don't demean people. If you want your team to be successful, they have to be open to criticism, but it needs to come from them, and that's what we teach, right? When you're open to criticism, you actually go seek it, and you go, "Hey guys, I'm really trying to improve from your point of view because you have a different perspective. How can I improve?" And then feel free to talk with your teammates. If it's not that, it's very clearly a toxicity incident that should be reported. You shouldn't be demeaning. You shouldn't be hypercritical. You should ask before. Just be an adult. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
No.
It's
fine.
It seems so obvious to me.
You're saying
obvious.
Everything literally to the T on what I said to Howling last night when he told me about this.
But
Everything
it's
to the
same
T.
thing. It's the same thing. But the reason why they want to hear it from you is because, of course, you're the president. So I said it in the entire, like, if you find the stream that I was on, I even explained what worthless death actually meant in comparison to the LCS version of it. So people see worthless death and they automatically compare it to the LCS loss without conversion. And we had that conversation about that one. We had a conversation about that.
Another question about the stats in general. Something we actually thought of just before we started this. Mm-hmm. Where does ESDL and LOL Scout actually get these statistics from?
So we pulled the basic stats from Riot, from the API post-match, post-game. We then run that through a post-match processing algorithm. So our CTO is, and you should have him on the podcast sometime. Philip
that
Myman.
guy's smart. That guy is smart.
Philip holds a double major from Harvard in applied math and statistics, and he has got a PhD in economics from the University of Chicago. He's run hedge funds. We've worked together in a number of companies. He's a genius level in what he does in both programming and analytics. Started the Journal of Sports Analytics. We published a paper together on esports analytics, which won an award at the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. So what we developed, it's it's what we developed with that paper is we then take those stats and we run it through a process where we can extract things like worthless deaths and smart kills. We can do a lot more, but it gets a little too nitty gritty. Those things are the most important, just to help the community understand that every death isn't worth and every death isn't worthless and every kill isn't amazing, right? So what we do is we just look at your win probability post death or post kill. If your win probability as a team improves post kill, that's a smart kill. If it improves post death, it's not a worthless death. So you can think of situations where everyone wants to type worth, right? We die worth. Well,
Everything.
not really.
Planking.
I'm glad to see myself out.
I'm messing with you.
So that's what it does, and so it really is. It's hopefully more clear when you're making correct decisions. So we run that through a post. That's how we get the stats that we then feed to Lol Scout as well.
All right.
Okay.
So that's one piece of that question. So you said that you could pull a lot more. People are asking because they say that some people are in the ESDL are really trying to develop, and I know a bunch of them. I can't say their names out because there's so many going through my head, but they said that they want more data.
It's interesting. So the prior version of this company, we actually started with a platform. We failed so many times, you guys. It's crazy. Most of my life is failure, but you learn from it. So we provided a platform that was purely statistics driven, and we actually used code that can be used for scripting and cheating, but we didn't use it for that. We used it to pull an immense amount of data from the game, where waves were at any particular time, locations by the millisecond of every single champ, every ability used, so we could track combo usage. I mean, it was an immense amount of data, and then we created a platform that would, if you look at competitors like who's the one I'm thinking of? There's a few platforms out there that Gamer Sensei. There's a few platforms out there that try and say we'll make you better with stats. Is their basic thesis.
Gamer Dojo.
Yeah, we crushed that. Like, I mean, it was very, very good, very accurate. What we found was that it had limited appeal, I guess. I think there's some folks that know how to interpret things and use that, but we didn't find that it was widespread. So we're open to develop more things for the community. We do want to hear what will add more value and what people really, really want at the end of the day. Do they want just entertainment shows from ESDL, right? Like, would they rather just have like a Netflix experience and we just give them more entertainment type content? Or do they want more hardcore tools, to improve them and their team? And I think based on my past experience, I think data is hard to get a handle on for most people, hard to learn from. I think storytelling is a little bit easier. I think that's why we're working with Lol Scout to get game reviews that are written in nature. So they're hiding. They have editorial staff, which our investment helps pay for. So we want written reviews that are smart and can help people improve, not just be entertainment, but can also be used to improve. So we want to, and I guess we've gone down the road of really heavy data, and we felt like that wasn't as effective. So we're open to trying both, but right now we're focused on more the, I guess, entertainment or news type stuff.
Right.
We do have one project in the works, which we think will be very, very helpful on a team level, again, though not on an individual level. So we worked on a team composition tool back when we were working with the professionals that helped them understand win conditions for different team comps. And so you could put in a champion and would say, okay, drafting Garen 1, here's the options for team comps, kind of in a decision tree chart. So we're looking to develop something similar to that, which should help teams understand really what team composition is. We don't think teams really do, quite frankly. And we look at the data, we think teams play champs that they're good at without understanding what a pick comp is versus a siege comp versus a split push comp. And so we want to help teams really understand that. And this is the only place they can really utilize something like that. You can't utilize a team comp tool in solo queue at all, right? But we want to develop something that'll help them develop their own team strategy and then plug in their opponent upcoming and see what kind of team comps they use so they can counter. We think that'll up the strategy level, up the smartness level of our players. So I think that's where we're going more in team tools than individual, at least for the time being. I think that's where our focus is.
I think that's a good idea. And I got to turn my head a little bit because I only have one champion. And I had to learn one I had to learn one.
There's a reason Philip and I can't play. Philip became I think he was the 19th best Tryndamere in North America.
Oh my God.
You look him up. He's unbelievable, and he will split push you to death. But you ban Trend, and he literally has no clue. So he can't play in the ESDL. And because of that, right? Because you just you look him up, you're like,
in-game name, just in case he comes across in one of my games.
It's ESDL CTO.
Perfect.
Oh wow!
And if I ever see that, I know what my band's gonna be.
You just ban that Trend all day. He'll probably dodge.
Okay.
Me
All
maybe
right.
on Ash.
This one is a little bit of something we've been hearing, but it hasn't gotten big enough to be an issue yet. But it's something I want to get ahead of to ask. Smurfing. Do you have any tools or strategy on dealing with Smurf accounts? Because I know it's hard to deal with. It's hard.
It is. I mean, I think ultimately, if you want to fool the system, right, you ultimately can in any system, right? You can, until we have facial recognition and all this kind of I mean, because literally, you just play in a friend's account. I mean, there's just so many ways to get around it.
Right.
There's two things here. There's a very specific reason we don't put money on the line. A couple of reasons. Number one, nobody should be playing for money except the best players in the world.
And they've already got that set up.
There's no sport, outside of esports where people are like, I should win money despite being, ranked in the 50th percentile of my sport, right? I don't expect to win money playing basketball unless I'm in the NBA. I don't expect to win it in men's league, in high school, in AAU, in intramurals. I don't expect that. And it's fine if you're in the top level because smurfing doesn't matter, right? It's the best against the best.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. So smurfing only matters when you try and that's why we hate tournaments, right? Generally speaking, is because that's where it matters, right? So number one, if you're joining the ESDL and it's about hopefully about improving yourself, but also getting recognized and all that stuff, will help you do that. But smurfing doesn't help you do that. It doesn't. If you start. And we can actually, this is a good time to make one of our big announcements. But
let's go.
We do have some tools. I mean, when people are accused of smurfing, we will look at their accounts. We'll see how the champs that they played, are they regularly playing on that account, and then did they outperform by a vast amount what would we expect from that level of player? So certainly we do that, and we haven't had much of an issue. Most of the accusations are unfounded. People lost and they kind of get mad.
Right.
But what we're introducing this week is ESDL competitive. So we've always said that competitive is a different game. It's a different game than solo queue. And so our analytics staff has worked on, and our V1 is coming out on a way to provide a different rank for ESDL competitive play than you have for solo queue. So the way this will work roughly is that it's a little bit like LP in that every single game you will receive a CRA, a competitive rank adjustment. We will take the stats that we track and provide to LOL Scout, worthless deaths, smart kills, vision score, and we will compare what you did in that game to both your opponent and to what everyone else in that class in our database is doing, right? So if you're in triple B, we'll compare you to both that opponent and what every other support if you're is doing in triple B. And then it's from 0 to 100 percentile, right? So if you consistently outperform, you get 82%, right, across the board in each metric. We will add points, and we'll read the full details. I don't have to probably bore you with the full details, but you'll get points, CRA, plus or minus, every single ESDL match. What that will amount to is at the end of the season, if you reported as gold 4, for example, and the math, how it works is if you crushed it and you were 85% across the board your whole season as being deemed a Plat 3 in ESDL. And that will be your competitive rank moving forward. So you will never have to enter or re-enter your solo queue rank. Solo queue rank, it's a different game, right? Like we said, with champ pool issues, like I said, so Philip being 19 in Tryndamere would not be as, if he came into ESDL, right? He's not going to perform at that level. So it's actually unfair to put him in, a super high class because it's a different game, and vice versa. So this will be released. We'll release the details tomorrow morning, and then it'll be implemented probably within the week. So with smurfing, the point is we'll figure out those smurfs really quickly. They'll get a really high CRA, and then they'll be bumped pretty quickly. So they might get one season's worth of coming in at a rank that isn't them, right? But then based on how they perform, they'll have their ESDL competitive rank will be higher, and they'll be probably bumped up a class or two, right? So the most you can get out of smurfing is one good season, right? One season where you do really well, and it's probably not that fun for you, and you get out of what you get out of it, and then you'll be bumped anyway because of our CRA. So we have tools, and we take smurfing issues seriously. If they're reported, we do investigate them. B, we don't think there's much incentive, and C, with our competitive rank adjustment, you have a minimal amount of time to actually do that, and then you'll be bumped the next season. One thing to note is your CRA, while you're accumulating it every game throughout the season, your actual rank won't adjust until postseason. So we don't want people worrying about subs coming into the team, having that your actual rank be adjusted in season. But after every season, then you'll have a competitive rank that will disassociate from your solo queue rank. So you can become whatever you can become in the ESDL, completely separate from what you're becoming in solo queue or flex.
I think this is going to really intrigue a lot of people. This is really going to intrigue a lot of people.
That's an idea.
This is now the first thing I thought of the second you brought this up is that makes me want to set a goal now. So, perfect example, I'm gold 4 in solo queue. That's what I put myself down as. That is what I'm labeled as. If I can set a bar to go up even as high as gold 1, even plat 4 by the end of the season, I'm going to feel like I'm really accomplishing something and feel like I'm doing something that's worth my time, and it's going to make it enjoyable, which is going to make me want to continue to keep setting that goal higher to see how high I can go. I think that's going to be a very successful system, in my opinion.
The other thing that's great about it is with solo queue, right? It's all wins and losses,
right?
And we all know that, right? We don't have to, we all know with matchmaking and all that, right? That everyone ends up right. There's barriers to that because it's wins and losses.
Correct.
And so you get a feeder or whatever. Like with ESDL competitive ranking, it's how you're doing on the key metrics: worthless deaths, smart kills, gold accumulation, vision score, the things that really matter. How you're doing comparatively. Obviously, it helps you if you have a good team. All that stuff helps. But you can play your game and play really good, right? And then you could be moved, right, independent of that. So we think it keeps the focus where it should be, which is on those things that lead to winning, rather than just winning, carried or not, right? And then yes, it's a new game, so it should have a new rank.
Definitely, I agree. And another thing,
the sound of this
another thing that it does well is it doesn't punish the players that are committed, because if you have a bad team, so let's face it, there are some bad teams out there, and I don't mean bad team as in y'all play bad. What I mean is, like, they don't show up for practice. No one wants to play. No one wants to work on their fundamentals. No one's doing the mental training. And you come in and do all of that stuff, you're still going to move up and you're going to leave that team behind.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a good thing. And that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see a team, and that'll even increase the competitiveness of it, because now they're getting bumped up. People are getting bumped up. They're going to take it a little bit more serious. And those reports are going to start rolling in, because now, like what's that commercial where that lady just keeps yelling about not affecting her discount? Don't affect my rank. Like, it's gonna be the same thing.
The progressive discount.
The progressive thing. It's gonna be the same thing, but with the rank.
I do want to say though,
it also works for our teams. It also works for our teams that are staying together. So if you are focused on a particular strategy, for example, gold accumulation for one player on your team, for example, right? Which is, there's different strategies, right? I saw a Yumi. She left me in bot lane just to stick on a Yi, and they killed it. It was like, it had like awesome. 30. You know what I mean? I suck bot lane, right? But it works there if you're staying together as a team and you're focused on one player, for example, and that one player is having continually good CRAs, and you stick together as a team. As we know with our team making, with a group code, you're going to be placed in the highest level, right? So if your teammate is whatever, you are deemed that for drafting purposes. So if you do have a good, well-functioning team, right, it's not all individual either, right? If your team is doing well and one player is ranking up, you're deemed that when you stay together, and so therefore you'll be moved up into that higher class potentially with them as well. So again, we think it's a good system. It's a V1 and it's open to tweaks, but we'll release the details, and it should be really fun. It's definitely new elements to the experience.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
That's gonna be fun. Well,
I'm just sitting here kind of getting excited.
Right? Look at Planking just dancing in that chair.
Please get it in for next season, because that season's almost over and I'm ready now.
We do have our last game coming up.
Oh man. Nice. We're gonna go ahead and hit you with our last question for the regular questions, and then we're gonna hit you with our bonus round. All right, our last question is there a way the community can reach you or ESDL to make suggestions about improvements? Is there a customer support, email, Discord poll, or something like that they can use to help make suggestions?
So I think our support staff, Summer, Teron, Patrick, et cetera, as we continue to grow that, do a pretty good job of talking with members and in different channels, and we talk every day, all the time. Now, as we grow bigger, there'll need to be better ways for us to judge, and really it comes down to, what do you want next? What feature requests? What does the community want next? So we'll need to develop better ways, polling or whatnot, or suggestions. For right now, use channels like the new LOL Scout feedback channel in the green room for, I think, and then we had a discussion about maybe a scrim tool somewhere else. So we want that, and I don't know if we want to institutionalize it yet. Every time those are brought up, though, like literally we've got a roadmap that's a mile long, and it gets placed there at least somewhere, and then we have these big debates over engineering and costs and what's going to be next. But literally everything goes on that board, and it's so hopefully just keep doing that. Post them in there. Know that it's being seen. We usually try and reply and maybe discuss it or whatnot. But every suggestion is then taken and put on the board somewhere.
I got this one suggestion about scrim, and you said that, and I want to remember the name of the person who said it, because he says, if you don't shout me out about it, dude, I'm gonna kill you.
You're failing.
So I'm pretty much dead. I'm pretty much dead.
Check your DMs and see if
better go say goodbye to your family.
Like, I'm gonna say bye to my dog. I'm done. But I know he's on the waifus team. I know that. I know he's on the waifus team. So shout out to them. They're 4-0 right now. We're gonna shout the whole team out, because I don't remember who said it. But they wanted to have a scrim that's like the same type of thing that you do when you ask for a sub. So you say, "Hey, my team scrims on this day at this time. Is there any teams open to scrim?" And it just goes out like an open letter.
So yeah, first let's talk about the structural changes, and I think all you know, because I think I posted this to the channel that I'm in with, that you guys are in.
Yes.
We do want to provide our teams more opportunities to practice. Practice mentality is fundamentally different than match mentality. You can take more risks. You can be more creative. Nothing's on the line in terms of placement or anything like that. So effective, hopefully, as soon as our engineering team can change all the stuff we told them to build, 6 months ago, the structure of the league will work like this. You'll be drafted that first week in which you should have a match the same time that you're scheduled for a match, Monday, 6 p.m., whatever that is, because the key point is, we have no information about your schedule except that you're committed to play on the specific time and date that you say in your schedule availability that you're able to play. We have talked a lot about adding an additional element of potential practice times, and Philip and our tech team is saying adding even one more element to our team making process breaks the whole thing. Like it becomes almost impossible. It's already very difficult to do schedule positions that you want. And then keep balanced divisions within skill rankings, group codes. It's a fairly complex algorithm, and even adding one more element of trying to match up. I'm available to practice at these times and trying to five overlapping. It just does not work fundamentally. So the way we're going to try to solve that is that first week that will be a mandatory practice. So you can choose to do whatever you want during that practice, scrim another team, just get on and play together, talk about things, theory craft, whatever you want, but it's a mandatory practice that will be, no-shows should be reported on the dashboard the same way you would a no-show of a match, which will trigger league discipline the same way as a match. So it's a mandatory practice week 1. Week 2, 3, 4, you will then play each other team in your division. We want to keep just the 4 teams in your division. We actually think that's more LCS-like to see teams multiple times rather than not, because the second time is different than the first. But we understand right now you're just playing one team twice, and it's kind of random, and then you might play them a third time in the playoffs. So again, to solve that, weeks 2, 3, and 4, you'll play every team in your division just once. Week 5, you'll now have another mandatory practice heading into the first round of playoffs, which is week 6. Week 6 is that first playoff, so you'll see a team that you've already played. And the losers of that playoff match, their season will end. They'll become immediately draft eligible, and they can start their new season as soon as possible. There'll be no third place game. Winners of that match go to week 7 for the championship. Championships of the division. We see a lot of breakdown on teams that are, in the third place match, for example, it's their last match and they don't feel like there's anything to play for. So we see breakdown on that. We see forfeits there, for example.
Yeah.
It's better for everyone if they're not in a good team situation, they're just not clicking for them to move on and get on a new team. Or if they do like their team, fine, they can just group code it and then they're into the next season where they're playing again. So those changes will take effect, again, pretty immediately. And the goal there, again, to provide a bit more practice time so that teams can gel better, work on things, have a different mentality during practice, during matches, increase the buy-in, losing the third place game, and then decrease the randomness. So just playing each team once prior to your playoffs.
All right.
See,
hearing it explained that way was just
boom
on point.
Boom. Now
hearing it instead of reading it, hearing word for word, it's more understanding, and I think a lot of people are going to have a better understanding.
And I think
don't worry, you'll read it soon too. Our members don't read though. We figured that out, right?
Clearly. I hate to say it, but you are not wrong.
They just don't
read.
I gotta say, a pet peeve of doing support is like 2 minutes before the match, and somebody at support and goes, "Can we change roles mid-game?" Or what's the rule on pausing?
Set up an LCS.
Do we have to set up an order? No.
So who's the home team?
Go to help. Read about it. Like just 5 minutes, folks.
There's literally
Anyway.
You can literally
a page
scan
with
through
all of this information.
And it's short.
Read.
And it's short.
It's not short anymore. It used to be a lot shorter,
Right.
but it's separated, so you can click one thing, and there's your specific rule you were looking for.
Right.
So,
All right.
voila!
All right, we're gonna hit you with the lightning round, and we're gonna do this for everybody that we get to. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions all together. Here you go. Favorite champion, favorite position, top rank. Who do you want to win the LCS? And lastly, tell me one embarrassing play you did. Go.
I got to remember all those.
I'll remind you as you answer.
We're living in the now.
My favorite champion is, of course, the Luxie.
Lux.
Okay. She just sits in the back. She doesn't have to carry anything, but she lands one nice Q and she can win the game.
Laser.
Forget the Q. Just pop ult every 30 seconds. What are you gonna do?
Love the Luxie. I played the Luxie mid.
All right. Highest rank?
Silver 3.
There we go.
I do not play much. I'm ESDL CEO on the game. So if you do see, I don't play much.
We can carry.
I work. I work. I got 4 kids. I don't think I'll ever be technically very good. I understand much more, obviously. I don't think I'll ever be technically very good at the game.
Right.
So I'm assuming when you do play, it's not a whole lot of solo queue.
I'm just gonna
That's the issue. I don't
flash my mastery Lux in front of him.
Yeah, I don't like solo queue. I don't get into it. It's very difficult.
It's
the
rough.
toxicity.
It's very rough.
I don't have any opportunity to put. I know what should be happening or could be happening, but I don't feel like being the guy that's like, do this, right? So I don't chat. I don't say anything, but I also know. Anyway, so it's not super fun. I do enjoy playing in the ESDL when I get a chance. I play every if I can get a season in, I'll do it because I do enjoy that. But I don't love solo queue. So Luxie, Silver 3. What was the next one?
The next one was.
He even forgot his own question.
Hey, it's written down. There's paper.
He broke that pencil.
Bruh, you better stop. All right, so favorite team in the LCS?
Oh, I can't answer that. We're in conversations with a number of potential. So we have the ultimate goal is also provide a platform to recruiting pipeline, and so we are talking to a number of teams about recruiting from the ESDL and partnering with us. So therefore, the
way to
corporate
drop a bombshell at the end.
Reason I asked.
The corporate response is we love them all.
Reason I asked. I knew that was going to be the answer, so that's the reason I asked.
You little sneak.
Most embarrassing.
They're very open to it. When we used to work with the pro teams, we'd ask them, how do you recruit? How do you discover talent? And I always, this is where my phrase comes from. They say we can't because it's an entirely different game. And I didn't know that 3 or 4 years ago when we were getting into the scene. Don't know that. And I learned that when dealing with them and then experiencing the solo queue and the ladder and all of that. It is a different game, so they can't recruit. It's not like looking at the ladder and being able to, you can pull from that. So what you notice, what happens right now is basically a recycling of different LCS players. They leave one team and go to another. Or it's like a friend of a friend. I mean, it's literally that archaic in terms of the recruiting, the nature of the sport right now. And so most of our members aren't interested in that, but some of them will be. And we want to solve that too, is provide a nice pipeline where at least you're playing the right game. We're measuring the things that matter. We know you're a good teammate, all that kind of stuff that matters on the pro level scene. We provide a nice, a good pipeline to that.
Last but not least, your most embarrassing League of Legends play.
There's like a plethora.
Just give me one.
Was there ever a backwards Lux ulti?
Yeah, at least you're not X. At least you're not X flagged.
Most of it's not my fault. It like glitches. I swear it glitches.
It's alright. I got a clip that you would enjoy.
Oh my god!
I like the Z coming in. That like I'm like, and it misses the Z, and then the ulti goes backwards, and like
it's alright. I hit the wolf camp.
I got the CS.
Bruh.
Look, I've chased, singed,
Oh
to
my
death
God.
with full health. Who hasn't done that, right? Everyone's chased.
No,
that.
that
He's
does
almost
not
dead.
make you
I'm
right,
gonna get
X Factor. That does not make you right.
Rashad.
I have
Just
the
one more
approval.
auto.
I have the approval. We're good.
Bro, you know that X Factor, that does not make you right, dude. You know.
I've been
you're
MF like at the front of the line, like MF, like with my back line behind me, like I'm lots of
MF.
embarrassing crap.
And that one you can Plankin can understand that one. She can understand that.
Frontline Ash. Let's go.
All right.
No, it's frontline Caitlyn. Thank you.
Frontline.
Might as well be Ash as well.
President and CEO of ESDL, everybody.
I am available via email, Brett at esdl.gg, for anything that isn't getting through normal pipeline. Thanks for having me. Look forward to many more.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. And this
100%.
This has been episode number 2. And we got the president on. We got the president on number 2. We got
the president, but I like that title. I feel like I should adopt that title. The CEO and
the president.
The only thing you're missing is a nice suit and tie.
Bro. His answer was
leader. I can, it's more distinguished than anyway.
I think so. I think so.
Board meeting. I'd like to be president, please.
We're gonna make that protest starting tonight, and we'll make sure
signs.
that push is made by next Monday.
Yeah, we'll have we'll have posters out tonight.
It's just gonna be painted across my wall.
I got people. I will move this somehow and put it right
posters
here.
everywhere.
Call Brett president.
Brett for president.
Facts. Well, that is our show. Join us next time. And remember, continue to remove toxicity and keep everything nice and friendly. This is XX Howling XX.
This is X Factor 709.
Flanking Dino.
No. He said no.
Yeah. You have done.
He said
You
no.
have a guess.
Goodbye. Goodbye and peace.